This rewind brought to you by shirts. Shirts! I have them now. Hello and welcome to Brave Souls Resurrection Rewind, a show that doesn't come often, but when it does, we take a look at one of the resurrected characters, and basically just do a rewind on them. Now today I'll be covering Yoruichi, and we're starting off with a normal attack damage build, something that I wasn't quite sure how this character would handle. After all, her attack is decent now at 657. It's still not high, but it's a lot better than it was. Not only that, but her bruiser got increased from 10% to 20%, and her normal attack speed got increased by 10% as well. In the end, it actually turned out to be all she needed, because this build was actually pretty good. Now it was a combination of things that actually makes this build usable, and one of them is the decent attack and decent damage. The other, however, is Yoruichi's ability to flash step. Like all the other Yoruichis in this game, she can do it multiple times, and you find yourself using it a lot with your normal attack build because it allows you to do some hit and run tactics. Still, I wouldn't say it's a build I would take for anything co-op related, as it probably can't handle that many enemies surrounding you. Still, by itself, it is a pretty good build, and even if she's chappied, her strong attacks aren't completely wasted since she does have frenzy, and they can do a bit of damage that way. Speaking of frenzy, her next build is the strong attack damage build, and as I mentioned, she does have frenzy, and her SP got a significant boost. It is now at 632, and while that isn't that high, it still might be enough to make this build usable. Spoiler alert though, it wasn't. I mean, her strong attacks did do a decent amount of damage, don't get me wrong. But, while her strong attack range did increase by 10%, it's still not enough to make this a viable build. Sure, the damage is there, but if you can't hit anything or multiple enemies, you are quickly gonna get outnumbered. I wanna call in attention specifically her strong attack 3 though, since while it does have the best range out of the 3, as well as the best damage, it takes about a second to actually execute, since she jumps up in the air and takes her sweet time coming down. This is a problem because enemies are constantly moving, so it's really hard to get your timing right and the enemy might move out of the way. So yeah, this is not a viable build. Finally, we have the strong attack recharge build. And as I mentioned before, this character does have a decent SP now. Still not high, but doable. In this case, however, it's actually a viable build, because while the strong attacks still have very poor range, they come back relatively quickly. So being able to spam them isn't that hard, and you can actually get through the quest pretty easily. Not to mention that Yoruichi is one of 2 characters so far whose secondary soul trait is actually decent. Partly because her initial soul trait sucked, but there's nothing we can do about that one. Still, having an extra 10% recharge definitely helps with the strong attack recharge build, and it helps to make up for the poor range and strong attacks. So yes, this build is viable, though like the Nadlink, maybe stay away from some of the harder co-op ones. So yeah, there you have it. Obviously I can't make as many of these as I have rewinds, because there aren't that many characters out yet, but I do have a few characters that I have 200 already. Let me know what other character you want me to resurrect and rewind, and I'll be sure to add it to the list. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what other characters you want to see in a rewind.